one.
Hi, I'm Victoria Gosselin, a third grade reading, writing, and social studies teacher. I'm also a graduate student at UMUC. I would like to share with you my semester-long journey using Daniel R. Venable's book, How Teachers Can Turn Data into Action. This data into action process is not an individual journey, but rather through a team, and I was lucky enough to be a part of Leah and Monique's team. This process includes 5 data meetings with an implementation period between data meetings 4 and 5. Data meeting 1 required each of us to bring our own set of data, and we looked at each other's data and made some noticings, wonderings, and asked some questions. By the end of this meeting, we decided as a team that we would move forward in this process with my data and one of my exploratory questions, which you'll see in the next slide. Data meeting number 2 needed us to bring additional data so that we can triangulate data and how it relates to exploratory question. Since it was my data, I was able to bring in item analysis, but I did appreciate how Monique and Leah made sure that we also had teacher artifacts and other things that we can look at instead of just an item analysis. Data meeting number 3 is where we needed to figure out what instruction gaps and learning gaps there were, what our final evaluation would be, which in this case was easy. My district does a summative assessment in January, and we set a target learning goal of 80% of students scoring on or above the main idea standard. And with that, we had some instruction ideas that we can help close the gap with. Data meeting number 4 was definitely more in depth. Prior to this meeting, the 3 of us searched for new strategies, videos, tips, anything like that on the internet. I saw a lot of blogs. Surprisingly enough, none of us duplicated each other. We shared our strategies with one another, and then we created some lesson plans where we made sure to incorporate technology and to make sure we had an artifact in case we needed to analyze more student work. After that, we came together and decided how our action plan would be completed, who would do it, how often, when the completion date would be. As I mentioned in the introduction, after data meeting number 4 was the time to implement the action plan to complete it. With this being a summer course, we weren't able to do so, but Venables does recommend a 4-week implementation period. Then it was on to data meeting number 5, which also had to be modified due to no implementation. And unfortunately, I did have to say goodbye to my team members, but I got to work with Kylie for my partner during this stage, and we basically just evaluated each other's implementation plans. We were provided with some questions, and we came up with a rubric, and we learned a lot from each other. We did have to spend a little bit of time clarifying some terms, but in the end, we were able to share some great resources and ideas. Kylie had some great apps that had to do with text-to-speech and annotating text digitally, and I was able to share some math resources that I know my colleagues use. And so after evaluating the action plan, I sit and I needed to think about what this whole process meant to me and what reflecting on it. And the area of strength is how deep you can go with this process, and you can really focus in on helping your students achieve goals. An area for growth, and I think a lot of it has to do with it with summer, is triangulating data. I look forward to having more artifacts at my fingertips during the school year. And the most rewarding part of data into action was the collaboration with my teammates and my partner. Everyone had great perspectives, and I definitely learned a lot from them. All right. So to close, here's Daniel R. Venable's book. And if you would like more detailed summaries or reflections of any of the data meetings, please visit my WordPress blog. Thank you very much, and I hope you learned a lot about data into action.